We're here to help Jim Nelson and sell a few books. We have mutual friends, and I've known about him for years. When he was in the Senate leadership, he was a close friend and a good friend of mine. So when he invited me to come up and have breakfast with a couple of his buddies for talking about the book, I said yes. I think the worst decision we made was not to directly confront the efforts of Democrats. It was begun in July 15th and 16th of 2003 to say Bush lied about WMD in Iraq. It began with a speech by Ted Kennedy, whom I admired, but for his for his work ethic. But what he did that day was terribly damaging, hypocritical, and wrong. He went out and said Bush lied about WMD. Later that day, Tom Daschle, the leader of the Senate Democrats, held a news conference and repeated the charge. The next day, two aspirants for the Democratic nomination in 2004, John Edwards in a committee hearing and John Kerry in a speech, repeated the charge, Bush lied. And then at the end of the day, it was finished off by Jane Harman, who's an otherwise sensible member of Congress from California, ranking Democrat in House Intel, put it out with a statement saying Bush lied. Now, you don't have five big dogs in the Democratic Party go out and launch that kind of an attack together unless there's been some concerted effort to say, let's exploit this. And they wanted to. They wanted to say, basically, Bush can't be trusted. Don't re-elect him in 2004. But each one of those people had similarly said, they looked at the same national intelligence estimate the president. Look, and the president has done nothing to prepare the ground for comprehensive immigration reform. This is simply an attempt by the president to gin up Latino anger at the polls in November 2010. If he was serious about this, he would not be saying some of the things that he did. It is offensive for the president to go out and attack Arizona for passing a law that said it will be a misdemeanor to be in the state illegally, when there is a federal law that says it is a felony to be in the United States illegally. I mean, if the Arizona law is racist, which requires a high standard before a law enforcement officer can ever ask anybody who's come into contact with the legal system for another reason, whether they're a U.S. citizen, what about the federal law, which has a much lower standard for federal immigration officials to ask anybody what their immigration status is? I mean, I think they do have staying power because the Tea Party movement is spun up and focused on questions of spending, deficits, debt, power, and the health care bill in particular. And those issues are not going to go away immediately. And will they have an impact on the fall election? They already have. The Tea Party movement, like the Civil Rights Movement and the Second Amendment rights movement, the pro-life movement before, has served to galvanize Democrats, independents, and Republicans around these big issues. And it has brought a lot of people off of the sidelines and into the game of politics. As I go around the country, and I'm doing 110 cities in 90 days, so I'm covering a lot of territory. And when I do book signings, people come through the line and say, I'm active in the Tea Party. So I've taken to asking them, what did you do before you got involved in the Tea Party? And 9 out of 10 times